So hello and welcome to Conversations with Esther this evening. This is a great day. It's Valentine's Day. Karibu sana. I see quite a number in the room. And as I said, we kick off at 7:10. So I will begin with a word of prayer. Then we can proceed. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you and bless you this evening. Thank you for this session that we have today. We pray for those that are in the room and those that will join, and also those that will watch thereafter. Lord, that this message that will be delivered will transform their lives. We thank you. We bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Maybe for the sake of just in a minute, kindly, I just need to go into this presentation a little bit. Just for intro, then we can move to the business of the day. I hope you can see my screen right there. Yes. So good. So today is Valentine's Day, and our choice of topic is very intentional about what we are talking about, because we value every bit. And as we talk about wellness is all round. So this is still part of wellness. Now, something new that I got to know last night, I've been nominated for the second edition of the She Awards Africa as part of the nominees from East Africa. So I am requesting and asking that you would vote for me. I will be sharing this link with Bonamenza, so that, and many others, and also on our social media platforms, that you can vote. As a founder of the year. So you just go into the category of founder of the year. You'll find two categories. There's a founder of the year under 30 years, and there's a founder of the year over 30 years. So go to over 30 and search for Esther Katiba and vote. Thank you in advance, and feel free to share that also with your networks. So for those that are joining us possibly for the first time, I want to introduce you to Conversations with Esther. Conversations with Esther is an impact-driven professional platform that informs, educates, rebuilds mindsets to ignite ethical and authentic leadership, best practice within industries while promoting healthy workplace relationships. Now, Conversations with Esther equips the employee with relevant workplace skills while supporting employers to develop, motivate, and retain talent. Now, guided by our three values, integrity, excellence, and impact, Conversations with Esther envisions a world transformed by candid conversations, respectable relationships, and intentional leadership. And that's what we are having today: candid conversations and respectable relationships in the workplace and in your homes. So this year, our theme remains prioritizing holistic wellness, and this is part of it. This is part of holistic wellness. Your love life is part of your holistic wellness. So this is how we are going about it in the year. We are on the mental now. Physical wellness, we've been doing that from January, but we're still carrying on the 5 km. We are on mental wellness. We'll move in March to financial, then to social, spiritual, environmental, intellectual. Now, it has been proven that organizations that prioritize holistic wellness stand to benefit greatly, recording improved employee productivity, reduced healthcare costs, reduced absenteeism, reduced presenteeism, improved employee overall health, reduced stress and burnout, improved financial wellness, increased job satisfaction resulting to talent attraction and retention, decrease in employee turnover, happier employees. And I want to say this as a HR professional, that in many occasions I got to handle situations of wellness among the employees, and a lot of them were coming from their homes. They were coming from their love life. They were coming from their relationships, from their marriages and different things. So as we handle this topic today, just know that it spills over into the workplace, and that's why it's very important for us to handle this topic today. So those are our social media handles. YouTube, you can get us on Conversations with Esther Katiba, LinkedIn, Esther Katiba, Instagram at Conversations with Esther, and you can drop us an email at info@conversationswithesther.org. And especially if you wish to partner with us or to have us come and speak to your employees in the workplace. So here we are today, love, romance, and respect. Love, romance, and respect. I don't know which order it goes. I think our specialist will tell us whether it should be love, romance, and respect, or respect, romance, and love, or romance, respect, and love. But either way, when love happens, how much romance is enough to keep the love sizzling? Are there boundaries to respecting one another in a romantic relationship? And what is the relationship between my love life and my mental wellness? And I think this is very, very important for us to think about. Where does your love life meet with your mental wellness? So allow me to bring our speaker today, Victor Oso. Victor is an accredited counselor specialized in sleep therapy, sexology, and he works with National Police Service Commission, who are our very, very good partners. Karibu sana, Victor, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Esther, for that very humbling introduction. I believe I'm audible enough. Probably you can confirm for me.
Yes, yes, you are. But we are seeing your head, so maybe you pulled up your, yeah. So, yes, that's better. That's much better. Yes.
Thank you, thank you. As I was saying, I'm very excited to be joining this great conversation today. It's been very interesting engaging with you and also partnering with you this far in trying to help the employees manage their emotional wellness and also promoting their mental wellness, because that is very integral in productivity for the HR department. So as you've introduced me, I am Victor Oso, and why am I very interested and passionate about issues sexuality? I have been in the reproductive health spectrum for a while now. I have really worked and supported a lot of women, especially, and I have dealt with men, especially when it comes to issues to do with erectile dysfunction and issues like those. So I got very interested. Then when I moved to doing now psychology, family therapy, I got very interested in sexual deviance and also sexual dysfunctions and the challenges that they pose to couples. And now my interest was so much in trying to help the couples that were experiencing challenges. And in the process of helping those that were experiencing challenges, I felt it will be important also to work with those who are not experiencing challenges, but they want to improve the quality of their intimacy and their romance. So I'd want to really appreciate all the participants and all the members who have joined us today. And I look forward to us having a very interesting and engaging discussion. Maybe to just introduce my presentation, allow me to share my slide so that we may proceed well. Just a minute. So that we may proceed together. I've divided my presentation into three. And as you have said, we are talking about love, we are talking about romance, and we are talking about respect. So the first part of my presentation is going to basically be helping us to appreciate what love is. Uh, Many people share very different perspectives about what love is. So we'd want to just appreciate what love is. Then from that, we will look at romance and how romance has an impact on our intimacy. Then from that, we can be able now also to look at what we can do, especially when one experiences a dysfunction or a disorder. Please confirm for me if you can see my first slide, Esther.
Not yet. No, it's not yet up.
Okay. Let's see. Uh-huh. So we will have a session where I'll be asking us to just share our perspectives on your chat box. So that is very important for me to be able to get feedback and to see if we are moving together. I am hoping it
It's
is
now up.
visible now.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm an accredited counselor supervisor by Kenya Counselors and Psychologists Association. And as you had mentioned, Esther, I work for the National Police Service Commission as a counselor there. So I want us to start here. When I got an opportunity to just, when we were discussing with you, you were telling me we need to talk about love since it is Valentine's today. So the question that came into my mind is not how do I teach, but rather how do we make the participants to learn best? Because this is a very sentimental topic and it has a very great impact in the quality of relationships that the families have. And my focus moved from how can I deliver this best to how can I help the participants to learn best. So I'm really very eager to see at the end of the sessions that we are going to be having, are the learners or are the participants going to have learned something new, also appreciating that they are adults. And when we talk about love, when we talk about romance, and when we talk about respect, these are things that they have engaged with, not once, but a couple of times. So I'd want us to reflect on these four statements. And I invite the participants to just write whether they feel Africans have so much sex, yet talk so little about it. Is that a fact or a myth? Maybe you can just answer in the chat box, either fact or myth. Then is the African man performing his roles? And this is very integral for me because when we are talking about love, then there are some people who look at it from the physical provision. There are those ones who say a man is supposed to protect. And then the other P is about making out or penetrating or intimacy. So as the participants, are you feeling that men are performing the roles that they are supposed to be performing? Our third statement is, what precedes the other? Is it love or is it sex? I heard you ask a very important question. Is it love, romance, or is it respect? So when you look at them very well, I don't know if you can make a guess that they all lead to a relationship. So mine is to ask, what precedes the other, love or sex? Maybe you can just chat us. Then the last question before now we go to the gist of the presentation is, ladies say they want a man with a vision. Now I'd want to ask, is vision important in attraction? It is either a fact or a myth. By the end of the session, we just want to appreciate the fundamental concepts that are involved when we are talking about issues love, issues romance and respect. We will see how the female reproductive cycle plays a role in romance. And there was an engagement that we were having with some of my colleagues the other day about ladies being moody and how that affects the quality of love and respect that they have with their spouses. Then we'd want to ask ourselves, I don't know if there are men in the house, and the fact that love language plays a very critical role, especially in matters romance and intimacy. Then we will distinguish and appreciate the difference between the sexual challenges that people have and how that also impacts our relationship. Then now we will talk about the sexual response cycle, and this is very important because it has an influence on emotional connection between partners or spouses. Then we'd want to, as we said, we are learning. We'd want to evaluate and ask ourselves, our state. Maybe it is Victor and my girlfriend or my wife. Are we really progressing well? What is it that we are doing well? What is it that we are not doing well and we can improve? The opportunities and the threats that we have as a couple. So within the minutes that you have accorded me, I'm hoping that we'll have covered those items. The father of sexuality, the father of intimacy in psychology is Sigmund Freud. And it is very important that we appreciate what Sigmund Freud says, because I see that we have a psychologist in the house, and I don't want to be accused of making a presentation based on assumption. Now, as psychologists, we tend to recognize our fathers, and our father in this profession is Sigmund Freud, and he says in matters of sexuality, we are at present, every one of us, ill or well, nothing but hypocrites. If it were a class, I'd want to just ask us, what do we interpret from this statement that has been made by Sigmund Freud? But from a psychologist's point of view, I'd want to say we all pretend that we are virgins, or at times we all pretend that we are very faithful spouses. But if God were to really tell the truth about our status, then I believe that many of us would fall and won't enter heaven, for those that are Christians, courtesy of matters sexuality. Another of a very prominent psychologist that is a son in terms of intellectual capability to Sigmund is Carl Jung, and he says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What are we trying to say here? Matters love, matters romance, and matters respect are things that are seldomly taught in school or in class. Maybe love, we can say we could learn it in church or in mosques. Matters respect, we could have learned it probably even in school. But when it comes to romance, then it is a behavior that probably we have learned through others, and that which we know, or we learned it from the families we came from. So that which we know might not be that which is supposed to be. So that which is supposed to be might be the unconscious that we are not aware of. And probably some of our challenges in our love life and in our romance, and in the fact that we don't respect or we respect, we might call that fate. So today we are just here to make the unconscious conscious, so that going forward, every action that you take will be an informed decision. This slide is very important for me because it touches basically the whole presentation that I'm going to be making. And when you're talking about love, And when we are talking about romance and respect, then there are two fundamental things that are very key. Number one is the physical aspects involved with those three words. And that is usually very key for most men. Then there is the emotional component that is usually very important for ladies. So we'd want to help both parties appreciate how significant and what role each plays, so that now we move ourselves from being unconscious to conscious, so that we are unconscious, we might not call it fate again. So our emotional involvement in matters love and relationship is linked to the first bullet. I'm hoping we can be able to see it. Enmeshment, detachment, and interdependence. Someone might ask, what is enmeshment? And this is now the place where I give a case study. I've had clients who come to me, especially when it comes to men, the focus is usually either I am not able to sustain an erection, and that brings a lot of conflict with my partner because I'm not able to satisfy her. So what can I do? Another very common, and I know that most of us know, I have worked in pharmacy, by the way, for a long time, and you tend to find that men come for the blue pill so many times. And I remember one client that came and told me that they have even upgraded from using the standard dose that is 100 mg to now using 2 tablets of the same drug. Men have a lot of pressure in pleasuring their partners, and this contributes to their psychological decision of going for the sex enhancing drugs, so that for them they feel if they're able to perform physically, then their emotional connection with their spouse will be high, and their connection will go high, and that means their love life will be very good. I don't know how true this is. Maybe the ladies in the house, when they are maybe asking questions, they would be able now to share their views. So I get a client called Victor. Victor is married to a lady called Jane. Victor and Jane have been married for 4 years now, and they started very well, and they were the happy couple. Everyone was looking at them and admiring them. Even their circle of friends used to be jealous of them, and they were wishing they could be able now to engage and be like them. But they came to therapy because they noted they were having challenges with connection, and Jane had found that Victor had been flirting with a colleague at work. So on further inquiry, I noted that Victor was coming from a family where his father had married 2 wives. So his mother was the second wife. He was the firstborn in that family. And on the other side, Jane was coming from a single parent family where the dad, she didn't know the dad. So the mom hadn't really entertained that engagement and that conversation of who the father was. So when they were 25 for Jane and Victor was 28, they had good jobs and they were doing well. They met, they were very happy that they loved each other, and the emotional connection was almost instant. They fell in love, they married, they started being the couple to be admired. 3 years later, they started having issues in their marriage because their sex life went down, their love life, the dates they used to go with on reduced. Victor started spending a lot of time at work, and the excuse was since he had gotten a promotion, targets needed to be met. This made Jane very angry, and every time when Victor would come home, it would be quarrel after quarrel, and the conflicts were very consistent. Automatically, that affected their emotion, and it started really eating so much into their love life, their romance, and their respect. Because now, when even Victor had an opportunity once in a while to try and be intimate with Jane, then he'd get premature ejaculation. And on assessment, I learned that there was something we call performance anxiety. Maybe that is something we'll go into. So I have given that case scenario so that it helps us to appreciate these six things that are very important and key, and to help the participants in this session to be able now to link how the case of Victor and Jane can be, maybe it can be Esther, maybe it can be Sharon, maybe it can be Christine, it can be any of us. So when we talk about enmeshment, couples, the man and the lady, Victor and Jane, coming from families that had very emotional, draining experiences. Jane hadn't learned how to connect very well to a man. Victor hadn't gotten a mentor in a father so that he's trained well on matters of relating and taking care of a woman. So when they were able to, then they really bonded and they were really into each other, because subconsciously they were telling themselves they wouldn't want their children to go what they went through. In the process, you find that they were overly involved with each other. And in being overly involved with each other, then we lose that personal space and freedom to do that which we desire to do as individuals. Over time, the boundaries are broken, and you tend to find, even when it comes to issues like phones, personal space, the physical environment, the way we communicate to each other, then that the, the flexibility in the boundaries cannot really be explained. You can't really say that for us as a couple, we have agreed no touching of our phones and the likes. I don't know what couples will say about that. After some time, after 2, 3 years, then Victor started feeling this is overwhelming because I have my own emotional challenges as a person. So he started drifting off. And since he was spending a lot of time at work, then he started flirting with another lady at work for reasons. I'm not using the exact names so that maybe if they have joined, they won't know it's them I'm referring to. So because he made a very good presentation, he is very well versed in his area of interest. Then he started getting attention from other ladies at work, and he identified one, and they started connecting emotionally. So what am I saying? Over-involvement emotionally is what we call enmeshment. And if you over-involve a lot, then you tend to desire some personal space. That is what we call detachment. You tend to detach from your spouse. And if you're not careful, and if you don't handle that process very well, you might find yourself being emotionally engaged with another person. What we usually encourage when couples are facing this challenge, they need to really be conscious and they need to be aware so that when they want that space, they can be able to detach, but now focus on something else, like going back to school and doing something else, because this is a feeling that after some time they will tend to go back. Our objective is interdependency, where you are growing, like Victor grows as Victor, career-wise, mentally, and intellectually. And that happens to also Jane, so that as they grow, even more attraction and admiration grows. And that is why in my second slide, I was just talking about vision and how it influences attention and how it also influences attraction. I hope I have been clear in that first point. Then we have the temperament. The temperament is what people call I am a sanguine, I am a melancholic, I am a phlegmatic, or I am a choleric. If you are a sanguine, you know you are outgoing, you are jovial, you are very interactive. But one negative trait, these guys are usually very selfish. It is always about them. When you're talking about a melancholic, this is a person who's uh, detailed, he's very analytical, he likes control. When we are talking about a choleric, this is a born leader. He is less of emotional, but more of rationality. Then we are talking about a phlegmatic. It is a person with a calm personality, a person who accommodates others, a person who is able to interact very comfortably with others. So now when I slide to personality a little so that now I can link the two of them, you tend to find in personality, there are extroverts and introverts. So when we are talking about extroverts, we are talking about the sanguine and the choleric. When we are talking about the introverts, we are talking about the melancholics, and also we are talking about the phlegmatics. Then someone would ask, how is that related to love? How is that related to romance? And how is that also related to respect? When you are a melancholic and you marry a melancholic, your expectations are same. So when it comes to performing roles, managing finances, and agreeing on things, since you love the same thing, then you can easily coexist. But now when it comes to your emotional side, they are less emotional. So they are more factual, but less emotional. So you tend to find when it comes to romance or intimacy, for them, they just know the missionary. It's called the missionary because that is how they have been socialized. They don't explore other ways of being intimate. When it is a choleric who marries probably a sanguine is outgoing, a choleric is a born leader. So when it comes to doing things in a particular way, the choleric wants his way to be the highway. Whatever he says, that should be done. But a choleric might be a bit stubborn because they are selfish. So you tend to find they might be a lot of coalition amongst these couples. When there is a lot of coalition and a lot of conflict, emotionally, people tend to detach. When people tend to detach, then that affects the quality of their romance, which also plays a critical role in affecting the quality of their love life. I'll go first to attachment styles. Attachment styles are usually gotten from our family of origin, mostly from the mother. Your mother was there when you needed them. They were available when you cried. They were there to listen to you and to provide. How did your family gel? Emotionally, did you connect with your parents and your other siblings? There is where attachment styles come. And I'd want to ask those of us here who are parents to take slightly more time and get into learning more about attachment style. And we have four types of attachments. We have the secure attachment, where both parents are available and the family is intact. They're able to provide the emotional needs of the children. So the children learn what love and what romance and what respect is from the parents. So that is secure attachment. So when they even move to their own homes, they have they start modeling that which they have learned from their family of origin. Then when we come to insecure, we have three. The first one is disorganized, then we have anxious, then we have preoccupied. When you look at these three, then you tend to find they are secondary to either an eventuality of life, that probably you were born and your dad disappeared, like what had happened to Jane. By bad luck, probably one parent died. Maybe your parents were so busy they were not there emotionally for you. So that can affect the way now you grow emotionally and the kind of behavior that you model when you meet your spouse. What is this I'm trying to say? Someone like Jane, on assessment, I did find that she has the insecure, anxious attachment style. She really wanted to cling on Victor. And the reason why she wanted to cling on Victor is because now she had gotten a man who was there. So for her, she was looking at a father figure more of a person who is supposed to love and protect and provide for her. So in her mind, things swapped subconsciously. And that is why that slide by Carl Jung was very important. If we don't make the unconscious conscious, it will dictate our lives and we might call it fate. So she clings so much to Victor, then Victor finds it overwhelming on him, then he starts detaching. So it is very important when you find that as a couple you're having issues connecting romantically and your love life is having issues courtesy of emotional disconnection, you just go for therapy and an assessment is going to be done and the therapist is going to identify what among these issues is bringing the challenge and your attachment style. And now they can support you and create awareness in your spouse for him or her to be able to understand. Then we have parenting and leadership style. I'll be a bit fast because time seems to be not on my side. Uh, for parenting style, those children like Victor who are born firstborns, they tend to be parentified children. They adapt the role of a parent. So when they go to a relationship, most of the time it is them to decide how to love, where to go on dates, what to do for each other. So it becomes a challenge because it also breeds it breeds conflict among the couples. Then we have issues to do with communication. This cannot be overemphasized. If you cannot communicate, then that affects the quality of relationship that you have. And one thing that I have noted, and I was just sharing with a friend of mine, and we are asking, after you are done being intimate with your spouse, do you usually, in that process of cuddling, get to talk about the highs and the lows, what you enjoyed about the experience that you had had, what you preferred that could have been done different, so that every time you are intimate, then it improves the quality of engagement or the quality of your intimacy. It is very important, but in Africa, kila mtu anamaliza, especially the man finishes. If it's at night, he turns and sleeps. Of course, I have talked about conflict management and I wouldn't want to go on it a lot. Then we have what we were talking about a bit earlier, the fact that we all desire to be independent, to grow. It is attractive to see that your spouse is doing very well and you find that you want them even more and you feel that you being in their life has really helped them to grow. But if you're codependent, then it means you are overly clingy on your spouse and over time they start desiring to get you off their business. So it is very important that as couples, we develop very good boundaries. And this is important because it helps us to appreciate each other. Like maybe for a lady, for you, you prefer your family eating together. So you'd want the family by probably 7 or 8 to be home so that you enjoy that meal together as a family because your love language is quality time. So it is important that you discuss this with your spouse so that he knows, hata kama I am very busy, then I need to be home at around this time. When it comes to the physical boundaries, it is important for the man to know what the lady enjoys and what she enjoys or he enjoys. And this is also very key when it comes to engaging with friends. You tend to find nowadays we are very liberal and very open-minded. So at work, sometimes you tend to find people are very casual with this physical space, and you might find that you are making your spouse jealous and or uncomfortable. Which conversations do you have with your colleagues? Nowadays, I hear we have BFFs who are the other gender, and remember, we are married or we are in a serious relationships. Of course, the do's and don'ts in relationships, the personal boundaries, and also the content. It is very important you define these boundaries very well as a couple so that you are able now to respect each other. This is very key, especially when it comes to respect. And I noted that majority of us wanted or part of the discussion today was about respect. So setting the boundaries and respecting the boundaries is very important. You know, for adult learners, if you are really talking too much, you might lose them. But I have been very keen in looking at the participants, so I am hoping I have not dropped anyone. And that was the first part that I was talking about. And maybe I want now to bring us on board. And I ask us as participants to just share their views on these 4 bullets that are probably on your screen based on the presentation that I've made in my part A. Is sex, or rather intimacy, an art or a science? You can just say art or science in the chat box so that I see that we are communicating. Then the second bullet, do you feel your partner is romantic? You could answer a yes or a no. Then it is very important that we look at the third bullet. Are you able to communicate emotional disconnection with your partner? And if you've been key in the presentation that we've been having, we have been focusing on the physical and the emotional connection. And we've noted when we are emotionally disconnected from our spouses, then automatically we have challenges when it comes to romance, when it comes to intimacy, and when it comes to respect. Then if you're keen, you'll see the last bullet is, I put it in capital letters. And this is very important for me because I have had a lot of challenge with clients that I meet and what they have learned, because majority of them have learned either online or visiting pornographic sites. And now you tend to find a man has visited a pornographic site and then he wants to try that which he has seen there with his wife. So how did you first learn about sex? This is also very important for those of us who are parents, because we want to challenge ourselves and ask ourselves, how best can I engage my children and at what age in this discussion on sex? Because as they grow, the current generation, it is important to just help and support them. So I can see only a few people have been able to answer. So it seems we are still thinking. Maybe Esther, you can guide me. How many more minutes would you want to give me so that I know how fast I need to proceed?
Wow. Um, I'm also thinking whether it's science or an art. I will answer as as we go on, but I think we can do another. We can finish by 1/4 latest, so that those who are going for the science or an art. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'll just try to rush through this part, the part B. Part B, we are talking mostly about understanding the woman cycle and understanding the male reproductive cycle, because that is very important to understand. When a lady feels that she's horny, what exactly does this mean? If as a couple you desire not to get a child and you're not on family planning, how can you navigate? Probably you're desiring to have a boy because you have a couple of girls as children. What can you do? We will just chat. So the slide that you're seeing on your screens is just helping us to appreciate what happens in the body of a lady, and it is the reproductive cycle of a lady. I know there are times she tells you, no, I don't want. So the areas that are marked red are usually, for some ladies, around that period, they really don't want to be intimate. But for some ladies, you tend to find they are very eager to be intimate around that period. So it starts from day 1 to day 7. And then day 14 is usually the ovulation day. And what do we mean by ovulation? I don't know. I saw my manager was around. So for his benefit as a man, maybe he could just say ovulation day is day 14, and any other man around day 14. And a lady really wants a man so much around this period because of how her body is responding and the elevated levels of the hormones responsible for intimacy. But you need to be very careful and cautious when you're not intending on getting pregnant and your partner or your spouse is not on any reproductive health method, because around 3 days before or 3 days after, that means from 17th to around 11th, there are very high chances of getting pregnant. So if you're looking for a child and you've been having challenges, around that period is very important. But then from day 20, a lady is safe. So from day 20 to day 7, we can see a lady is usually safe around that period. I don't know if this happened to you when you first met that person you call your spouse. You saw them, you admired, maybe I talk about the ladies. You saw them, you admired them because of probably you met at work, the way they were really explaining concepts at work. Then they came to you because they saw how you smiled at them. Then you got aroused. Before you discovered, you started being intimate with them. Then the big day happened when you achieved the high. But in my practice, I've noted a lot of ladies uh, share that they have not achieved orgasm. And probably even among those of us who are here, we might be asking ourselves, what is this that we call orgasm? And I'll define that, or I'll say it is the highest level of sexual satisfaction that a person gets in the process of being intimate. Then after some time, if we are not careful, then the curve will go down. So this helps us to just appreciate that we need to be very conscious, especially in matters romance, so that we spice our romance, and in spicing our romance, then we are able now to have fun and fire our love life. Because this curve, it goes down, then it goes up again, then it goes down. It's like how life is. So there are a couple of or a few hormones that are involved in the sexual arousal, and when we comes to when we come to sexual dysfunction or sexual challenges, we'll tend to find some of these hormones are a bit low. So I'll share the presentation, so we'll get to even read deeper. But my of key concern, of course, we know testosterone is for men. Estradiol is estrogen that is usually key in women. Then endorphins are feel-good hormones. Oxytocin is that hormone that is released when you achieve orgasm. Then dopamine is what makes people addicted to sex. So if you have sex so many times and quality intimacy, then you start producing very high levels of dopamine. So if you don't engage intimately, then you tend to find that you're getting depressed. I don't know if we would agree that addiction is that we can call intimacy. Intimacy can be addictive or sex can be addictive. Anyway, in the interest of time, so uh, in that slide, I want us to go to the last bullet and I want us to reflect. Did the spouse that you married, maybe I ask Esther because now I know Esther, did the spouse that Esther married her father like? Does your husband resemble your father in some way? So in answering that, and all of us, we can just ask and reflect on that, then we will see what Sigmund Freud was saying. For girls, Electra complex is a key component where girls, when they are growing up, especially around 4 to 7 years, they are jealous of the emotional connection between their fathers and their mothers. So they want to be the ones connected with their father more than their mother. When we talk about Oedipus complex, it is the boy child vis-a-vis the father and the conflict they have because they're seeking attention of the mother. And then you tend to find when the males grow, they look for wives who have qualities that resemble their mother. So since I know Esther, then I'd want to ask Esther. Esther, if your husband married their mother in you, id, ego, superego, those are very important components in matters sexuality, intimacy, and love, because it is the pleasure principle and that which drives us, especially when we are at our high. Romantically, ego tells us, even if you're high, you're supposed to either go to a hotel or go to the house. Superego is what tells you you need to be faithful. If you're married, you need to be faithful. There are different love languages, and today being Valentine, maybe I just want to challenge us to, if you don't know the love language of your spouse, to maybe make time and engage in a conversation with them about this discussion on love languages, so that you love her the way she'd want to be loved, rather than the way you think is right to love her. Sometimes emotionally we disconnect around that place. We love people because we have been loved in a particular way, so we think for them that is their love language. So we have 5. There are people who want to be appreciated, who want to be complimented, who want to be affirmed. Then there are people who enjoy spending quality time with their spouses, those who like a lot of intimacy through physical touch and acts of service. There are men who, for them, like a day like this, if you make a delicious meal for them and you are the one who makes it, not your house assistant, then it just lights them up. And I know receiving of gifts most of the time is very common with the girls, and that is why the vendors of roses and wine usually take advantage of the boy child in a day like this. So this is an exercise that I'd want to invite you and your spouse to get into, so that you identify what she loves and what he loves, so that in loving each other from today, the 14th, then you are able to love each other the way someone wants to be loved. What is the role of the G, the C, and foreplay? This is a discussion I usually like to have when I have my participants physically. And why am I saying so? Because when we're talking about the G, we are talking about the G spot. And at times, it is very important to have a person physically so that we are able to engage them and ask them questions and see if they really know where the G spot is. Because if they don't know the G spot, then you need to help them to know where it is and how now the man can take advantage of that and even help their woman to achieve orgasm. And there is something we call squirting. Maybe it's an interesting conversation that we can go in another day. In the interest of time, Identifying the C is the clitoris. Do you know where it is as a man? Because if you know where it is, then helping your woman achieve orgasm shouldn't be a challenge. So this is also another area that it is good when we are discussing in person, so that we are able to train couples to be able to help each other achieve the highest level of intimacy. Then we have foreplay and the significance of this. I know over time, men don't have time for this, because for them, I'd say at times as men, we are selfish. We want to release the energy and the tension that we have within ourselves. So we tend to rush things. But we can always also teach someone if you're struggling with this. So I wouldn't really belabor on this slide. So if you're having challenges with understanding these concepts, my numbers are around, so we can always engage and we see how we can be able to support in that area. So as I move to part C briefly, and maybe within the next maximum 10 minutes, I'll be done with my presentation. I'd want us to remember that our focus today was love, romance, and respect, and how these three factors affect the quality of relationship that we have. Today is Valentine. Is there something different that you spending your time in this session can do so that it helps improve the quality of intimacy that you have? Because in having quality intimacy, then you positively affect your love life, and it also have a positive ripple effect in the respect that you have towards your spouse. So intimacy has two factors that are important for us to discuss. As a man, as we talked about Victor wants to pleasure or to be intimate with Jane, but because of performance anxiety, he's number one, not able to get an erection. Number two, he's not able to even sustain that erection. Then he gets premature ejaculation. Probably your spouse is here. What can we do? And we are calling that dysfunction or disorder because it is a difficulty. You want, but you cannot, and it disturbs you. But now when we are talking about sexual deviance, then we are saying the society expects you to do things in this way, but now for you, you do it in a contrary way. So what can be done? How can your spouse be helped? Maybe your spouse is so much into masturbation, your spouse is into so much sex toys. That is probably a discussion that I hope I'll be able to dive in before now I finish. So when you're talking about the challenges that we have in our intimate lives, we can classify them into those four. We have the desire, some are hyper aroused, some don't even get that desire. Some are overly excited about intimacy, others don't have. When it comes to arousal, others are aroused, others are not. When it comes to orgasmic disorders, this is a challenge that we've noted, and it is said close to 50% of ladies experience this challenge. In my practice, I have met, maybe I'd say 30%, but you know, sexuality is also a very big factor, and people tend to shy away from seeing therapists on this. Then there is sexual pain. So we'll just rush through, and I know probably a friend, a sister, or a colleague at work has experienced or has shared a story of someone they know having low interest in sex. For them, they don't see the significance, or some are overly excited about it. They want it on a daily basis. Another story was going on social media when that pastor, I don't know the name of that pastor, when she was saying, every time anataka tuatwa, every time anataka tuatwa. So probably we'd say, I don't know if it is right to say the husband had excessive interest. Then in arousal, we can talk about ED, that is very popular. And sadly, men are abusing the blue pill on this. And that has now a ripple effect when it comes to issues to do with hypertension and diabetes. We have premature ejaculation, and this is a challenge that we are seeing among young people. I also attend to the young adults from 18 to 30. And the ladies complain a lot that their men are getting a lot of premature ejaculation. And when you assess it from a psychological angle, then you'll appreciate that the challenge usually emanate from that anxiety of them performing and the fact that they really want to impress the girl. So when I get a client who's having premature ejaculation, one thing that we just discuss and we help them in anxiety management, and then now we tell them to expect failure. So when they expect failure a number of times, then maybe by the time we are in the fourth session, they surprise you with how they performed well. Then we have people who have retarded ejaculation. They go for so long and so long. Even the lady has dried up and the guy is still pressing on. Then we have dyspareunia, and then we have sexual phobias. For ladies, the same, maybe we can come to an orgasmia where she doesn't experience orgasm. Then one other thing, vaginismus. For ladies who've sadly gone through rape, you tend to find their bodies automatically shut when they're in that process of making out. I had a couple that I was seeing a couple of years back, and they hadn't been intimate until they got married. So when they went for their honeymoon, the guy was really trying. Now, they wanted to consummate their marriage. Then, when they were trying, the girl kept insisting that maybe they postponed it to the next day. Now, when it became apparent that they were supposed to, they were just about to finish their honeymoon, the guy now really pushed to understand what the issue is. When the lady gave in, then automatically the vagina just closed up. It was not opening, so penetration wouldn't happen. The lady wasn't feeling comfortable sharing with the guy what could be the issue, but psychologically, and we usually say intimacy starts in the mind. So the lady was not able to really share the trauma that she has gone through because that was an emotional secret that she was still keeping. So, but now when they come to therapy, when people come to therapies, we see them sometimes together, sometimes we see them apart, but it became apparent, and over time, the man was able to understand, and we were able to work with them. And I can say they are now enjoying the quality of intimacy that they desired, and they keep growing, and they have been very consistent clients. I think they're happy clients, so they are consistent clients. So I see I have 3 minutes. Maybe I'll just rush through this. So what we have been looking at in those 2 or 3 slides are the difficulties that we experience in our intimacy and how that can also have an impact in our love life. So this slide shows us the disorders that are there. And if you can recall what I had mentioned, when you're talking about disorders, we are saying the society expects you to do things in this way, but you're not doing them in that particular way, but you're doing them contrary to that. So I understand, and the psychologists in the house know that when you're talking about LGBTQ or homosexuality, that was it was removed from the DSM-5, which is our tool for diagnosis. But in our African context, we still say that LGBTQ is a sexual disorder because it goes contrary to that which is expected of us. But in LGBTQ, there are two that are very important that I'd want to bring to our attention, the transgender and the intersex. By the way, I am assuming that we know what LGBTQI plus is, so forgive me for that. L stands for lesbians, G for gays, B for bisexual. These are people who have sex with both genders, transgender. I am a male, but I feel that I am a female, and that revolves around the hormones. And if you remember, we talked about the hormones. Queer, any other behavior that is contrary to having sex with the person of the opposite gender. Then we have intersex. These are people who have both reproductive organs. And then there is usually A. I forgot to add an A there. A represents asexual. These are individuals who don't feel attracted to either men or female. Then plus stands for any other that will come, and that is inclusive of all this that you can see here. When you're talking about pedophiles, these are people who have sex with children. Exhibitionism, these are people who like to expose themselves. In Africa, it is not so common, but in the Western regions, it is very common. Then we have voyeurism. Voyeurism, these are people who like, maybe for people who stay in plots, let me call them plots, or people who share bathrooms and the washrooms, you tend to find there, and it is common in men. Men tend to, when they notice someone else's wife is going to take a bath, then you'll tend to find them, they want to look and peep and see that lady. So that is what we call voyeurism. Sexual sadism, these are people who enjoy inflicting pain. So their intimacy, the highest level of intimacy is obtained by inflicting a lot of pain on others. I appreciate in Kenya, there has been this popular or this sad story about what happened to Scarlett and what happened to Rita. And we'd want to ask ourselves. And that is why I'm saying I've really been looking at these sexual disorders and sexual deviance and trying to understand some of these things. So for them, were they enjoying intimacy or sex by inflicting pain, or what was really happening? Then we have sexual masochism. These are now the ladies or the men who enjoy being inflicted pain for them to achieve orgasm. And we have froteurism. These are people who and I a few years ago there was a complaint that men used to stand behind women and rub their reproductive organs and then achieve orgasm. So there was that concern. So those people who, or especially in men, it's more of a disorder that is common in men. They like to rub their reproductive organs without permission on that other person to achieve orgasm. Then I hear people say, what is your fetish? What is your fetish? So fetishism, and to be precise, transvestic fetishism, this is where your intrigued or your attraction in matter sexuality comes from either an object or something way out of that person that you're engaging with. So I will do a quick reflection and ask ourselves, can personality trigger sexual deviance? And this is very important for me. And I am doing a study trying to look at how introversion can predispose someone to sexual deviance. And I am looking at it from the fourth bullet, where I am asking myself, and I want to engage these people with sexual deviance, and I ask, is it that difficulty as an introvert that you have in negotiating for sex that makes you develop sexual deviance? Then have you ever experienced performance anxiety, or has your spouse ever experienced performance anxiety? Then the power of self-control. This really helps, especially with clients who are having challenges with premature ejaculation. And what exactly are we saying? When you keep going in and out as a man, that warmth in there will make you just achieve premature ejaculation. So what are you supposed to do? There is a technique of going, resting, and utilizing the five senses and how that can really help you in this. So I've had challenges, especially in towns when I am attending to clients, and in the interest of time, I'm just rushing, but I'm hoping that we are understanding. But I also want us to give, I want to give the participants chance to ask questions. That is why I'm a bit fast. The ladies, especially in urban areas, are using a lot of sex toys. A friend was sharing with me the other day that a very prominent lady had a serious accident and died after hitting a culvert, and when she was taken for postmortem because of insurance, then a sex toy was found inside her. I also know a lot of ladies who do a lot of masturbation, and I also know a lot of men who are struggling with masturbation because their house managers, when they were growing up, who introduced them to masturbation. So I don't know if your husband is struggling with masturbation and how that is affecting your intimacy. And I don't know as a man if you get performance anxiety because you pleasure yourself through masturbation, so you find it a challenge pleasuring your wife or your partner. If you have this challenge, probably you could side chat and reach out because there is help. But I'd want to help us also to really learn how to negotiate for intimacy, because if you're able to negotiate very well, then our love life will really grow. When it comes to management, number one thing, we usually rule out medical causes because things like diabetes play a very critical role in affecting intimacy and thereby leading to affecting our love life. So we also counsel when it's a medical condition, then now we refer you to a practitioner. And when you are now taking medicine, then you are, as a family, you are able to be counseled and a therapist works with you so that you are able to be patient with your spouse. And now you adapt other ways of being intimate with each other and achieving orgasm. Psychotherapy, that is basically counseling. Pharmacotherapy is medicine. Then most of the time we prefer the mixed method. Um, Maybe guys, I have been talking so much. So at this moment, I want you to talk to me and answer for me this question. Lack of sexual activity leads to what? Especially if you've not had sex for not 1 day or 2 days, maybe a month, 3 months, 4 months. And a very close friend of mine just shared with me before we started this presentation. For men, what happens? So maybe I'd want to just get your personal experience, not even for you, for the ladies you talk to or for the men you talk with, what they say. So, in conclusion, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say in my presentation on love, romance, and respect that we are very different and your spouse is very different. And in being different, it is important you assess compatibility, especially for those that are not dating. Probably this is a very good moment, and this presentation comes at a very good time that you assess your compatibility intimately with the person that you are dating, so that you see how you can adjust and fit into each other. You know, these different shoes, there is someone who will fit the red one and it will fit very well. But when they come to the gray one, then it will be very uncomfortable, and vice versa, the white one. So it is important to understand what your spouse also loves, because you might assume that what you love is what they love. Probably it is not what they love, so that you are able to adjust and fit very well into each other. That is now the desire and my objective when I was making this presentation. So 3 things are very key in ensuring that a relationship really works. That is communication, which we have talked about. Sex, I believe we have also talked about. Money, I am not so sure I am very competent to talk about that. There are other professionals who can do better than me. So when sex involves all the 5 senses, as I was talking about intensely, it can be like a mystical experience. The ladies have 6 senses, they say, and the men have 5. So it is important you know how to utilize the sense of touch, how to utilize the sense of smell, how to utilize the sense of taste in order to spice up your romance. And in spicing up your romance, then it has a multiplying effect in your love life. We are told everything great in life and business is born out of great communication. And we are being reminded by this lady, Cindy Gallop, that sex is no different. So communication, communication, communication. Communicate when you're not given the way you want to be given. Communicate when you have really enjoyed so that he knows this is the way she likes it and this is the way that I need to give it to her. Then uh, we are being told by Madam Johnson, sex is perfectly natural. It's something that's pleasurable, it's enjoyable, and it enhances a relationship. So why don't we learn as much as we can about it and become comfortable with ourselves as sexual human beings, because we are all sexual. So thank you for making time and attending, because you are learning more about it, and in learning more about it, then you're going to be better, and that will spice up your relationship. And as I conclude, probably the shoe in reference to your partner in matters intimacy and love, they're fitting very well. And most of the time I see if it's really working, we like taking it in social media. We like telling, especially for the ladies, how your man is, what your man did for you. We are being reminded that when God blesses you with a great relationship, keep your mouth shut. Maybe to that person that knows that I am their person, when I don't post them, they should not be mad at me. I was aware of this long time ago, and that is why I've been keeping her aside from social media. So it's been a pleasure interacting with you. It's been a pleasure sharing insights with you. I appreciate that we have different experiences, and maybe engaging more would really help me in being able to support for those that are having challenges. Over and above, thank you so much, Esther, and back to you.
Wow. Thank you, Victor. I don't know what to say. But I think this can go on and on and on for long. And it's a conversation that we need to keep having. So I'm here looking at the comments just so that we finish. Thank you, Bonamenza, for joining. And he said, glad to join in and receive insights on the above, on the subject. Someone said sex is an art, Angie. Science, art. I think you need to tell us what it is. And then I came in and said, by the way, I saw my husband here on the call. Unfortunately, I'm not a gifts person. I think it's very good for him. He should be clapping. And I'm not a flowers person. So Valentine's for me, flowers, no, I have made that clear. So, and another Esther here says, my love language is acts of service and physical touch. That's Esther O. Someone asked you, what's the difference between masochism and sadism? You can answer that possibly.
That question, when we are talking about masochism, I enjoy when pain is inflicted on me in the process of intimacy. Then sadism is I enjoy inflicting pain on my partner in the process. So one as a receiver and another one as a giver. So for a sadistic person, they achieve orgasm by inflicting pain, maximum pain. But now for a macho, they enjoy that pain.
Well, I'll understand that. Martin says, thank you, Esther, for this eye opener. I think you should arrange part 2 soon. Absolutely. I think there's so much to learn. And these are conversations that we need now to get into. We just need, Victor, I just like the way you delivered it. Straight on, spot on. Ukupiga
Thank
kona. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I think allow me to release you, but we will definitely have a part 2. I think we need to have these sessions more often because they definitely affect our mental wellness. They affect how we relate with people. They affect us in the workplaces. It spills all the way. So when we get helped, then I think from the home to the workplace, things will be well sorted. Thank you, everyone. God bless you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
you for hosting us and have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.